In a similar territory, similar department here, Russia apparently is thinking about forcing Apple to reduce its App Store commission. Once again, different places, different policies. Supposedly inspired by the ongoing dispute between Epic and Apple, as well as Facebook and Apple. We have some potential legislation in Russia, in the Russian parliament here, to not only cap the commission for stores like Apple's App Store, but also cap the commission for Google Play, and also potentially make it possible for other app stores to be installed on these devices. That you can't have in only one app store, that there should be other options, which kind of supports Epic's idea with their, I guess on Android, there are other stores. You have Samsung has a store on Android.
Yep.
So this would be mostly an iOS thing. Here's the quote. In recent weeks, the conflict between developers and owners of the so-called marketplaces, application stores, has only grown. Apple's conflict with Epic Games, Facebook's attempt to inform users about Apple's imputed tax, all of this led me to believe that the problem could be resolved through legislation. And it's quite simple. To oblige the current monopolists, I believe that's the term he's using to describe Apple, to allow the installation of third-party app stores on mobile devices, and along the way to reduce the size of the commission to at least 20% and introduce contributions to the fund to support developers. So this is kind of odd to see this coming out of Russia specifically, but this is going to come under increasing scrutiny in a number of different regions that are inspired by the conversation happening in the United States and want to reassess how they govern this. I mean, there's been antitrust stuff in Europe. They're still mad about Google's acquisition of Fitbit in Europe. Every places can set up their own restrictions and their own legislation to deal with how these mega corps and the tech giants operate. Could it set a precedent? Possibly. I don't know how many are following Russia's lead when it comes to legislation, but sure, it could set a precedent. Other countries could look at it and say, well, look, they successfully did it over there. And the question is how Apple would respond. The question is if this became a requirement to do business in Russia, would Apple oblige? They've obliged in some places. They've made changes in some places to do business, but they could also just say, no, thank you. It's up to them, I suppose. I don't know what percentage of their revenue is derived from Russia, but they'd have to look at it. But interesting nonetheless.